Hey, you know what? We are about ready to launch into something we've been looking forward to now for, well, about a year when you really think about it. And it's the introduction of this year's honorees for the class of 2021 Citizen Driver at Travel Centers of America, TAs, Petros, TA Expresses. And to kind of get things kicked off, give us a little history, a little background, and to make the announcements is our good friend Barry Richards. Hey, Barry, good morning.
Dave, good morning to you. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. It's great to hear your voice again. Can't wait to shake hands. I think that's going to come later on this year, somewhere along the line. Got some folks who really are outstanding nominees, all 10 of the nominees, one husband and wife team together to make up the 10. But just an incredible group of people, as it always is. So going back to 2013, huh, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just amazing the number of people that get nominated and the caliber of folks that are out there driving. The world needs to know, right? But yeah, so we created this in 2013 to recognize these professional drivers, and you know they keep America moving. So they embody the long-held values of truck driving profession through citizenship, safety, health and wellness, community involvement, and leadership. So, great group of folks.
But that's a laundry list, you know. I mean, yeah, and the idea of it is, though, is that there are some great awards, and there should be more, but there are great awards to honor those and to recognize those. In trucking, and the idea of helping people out on the road, or being just a great driver, and winning competitions in terms of driving skills. That is great stuff, man. But the citizen driver thing really caught my attention because of the fact that it goes through this laundry list of stuff, Barry, and much of it has to do not with what goes on the road. We know these folks are awesome, top-of-the-line truck drivers, each and every one. That's a given. But it's what they are able to do and can make the time for to get involved in their communities, whether it's schools or organizations or churches. And boy, that laundry list goes on too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And well, you just nailed it right on the head. When you think of the job, right, which takes folks out for days, sometimes weeks at a time, the fact that they can find additional time to go out and contribute to their community, you know, through their church or through other activities is pretty amazing.
Barry Richards, I guess I should turn my microphone on when I start talking, Barry. Barry Richards Barry Richards. My wife keeps telling me, hey, Dave, you don't have to talk so loud. You're not on the radio anymore. You know, it's like, hello. My daughter, my school teaching daughter and myself, it sounds like shouting matches when we're talking, but we're just talking. So there are prizes involved, of course. And one of them is a prize of actually giving to a great organization too, huh, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's again another thing that makes these folks special, right? Because the main prize is being able to make a $2,500 donation to the charity of their choice. The other things that go along with it are, I'm sure give them some personal satisfaction. But this is the big thing here, and it just speaks to their nature entirely, I think.
Indeed it does. Indeed it does. So from 2014 through 2020, I think that bus is almost full. We'll have to get another school bus there because I think we have, 35 citizen drivers so far, not counting the ones that you're going to announce here in just a little bit. Right.
Yeah, we're closing in on that number. And, just for a minute, if I can touch on one of the things that we give these drivers when they carry this distinction is a ceremony at the site where they've chosen, by the way, to have a site represent their name. We put up a historical plaque with a little story of their accomplishments, and it's amazing how our staff reacts to that when they find out that their location has been chosen by a driver to carry their name. They just go all out. It can be a very emotional setting, right? So we let them come out with 30 of their family members. Sometimes local politicians come out. Sometimes state senators show up, and people get up and kind of give a testimony to these drivers. And it is just something to see, Dave, to see these folks finally get the public accolades that they truly deserve. And from that point forward, as people travel through that site, they're going to be able to know the story of that driver and the things that they've accomplished. So it's just a great thing to be a part of.
And it is, and the way you describe that, Barry, it really goes right into the philosophy of the citizen driver, because truck driving awards basically pertain to the driver, that person's family and friends, maybe the company he or she might be attached to, either as a driver or as a lease operator. That's about it. In this case, though, it shows how much what that driver does and how much it affects the people surrounding you. So that award actually reflects not just on the driver, him or herself, but on the people that work in the truck stop, the people in that community. So it is a big deal.
No, it is. And this was an unexpected bonus for us, Dave, because we had our site not directed by us, but oh my gosh, they all pitched in. They put up these huge displays and balloons every place, and they were baking cakes and serving special meals that we typically don't serve in our restaurants. They were beaming probably as forcefully as the drivers and their families. So pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. John Perchik, of course, is the CEO at Travel Centers of America. We had the opportunity to have him on the program a few times here, and he's a great guy, all looking forward, as you guys are always looking forward. But I want to just go back because Tom O'Brien was heading things up when the Citizen Driver campaign was going on. I always read, and you remember this too, Barry. I was talking about this with Tim Ridley this morning. They said, well, boy, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So you put the name up on the truck stop and everything. That's wonderful. He said, how long is it going to be up there? Like for a year? And he says, no, forever. It's like, we got 250 stops. So when we get close to running out, we'll think of something else, So this is in perpetuity, and it's remarkable, it's a big deal, and it's the real deal. And that, I think, makes all the difference.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. In fact, when Tom started kicking the idea around with me, I kind of had the same reaction. I said, for real, we're going to put their name on the building, and it just stays there? And he's like, gives me the thumbs up thing, and I'm like, all right, well, this should make somebody feel good.
I remember you telling me that story.
Yeah.
So here we are, how many years later now, and we are about to induct a couple of people into that cadre of drivers. I don't know if you have the notes I have in front of me, but got some pretty interesting numbers in terms of driving experience, million miles logged. Do you have those numbers right in front of you, Barry?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, run through those.
Okay, so when combining these drivers' records, right, more than 1,025 years of driving experience, 112 million miles logged, 10 of these folks are military veterans, and 5 of them have saved a life. On top of that, these drivers have a lot of characteristics in common, Dave. They lead by example, committed to safety, recognize the importance of mentoring the next generation of drivers, and they ensure they're always representing the industry in the best way, and heavily involved in charity and community support.
Indeed, covering all of the trucking basics, all of them, but then adding the community. I don't even call them basics. The things that they do in and for the community, even when they're outside of the community, they're still working for folks back home in so many cases. And that's, again, what broadens this out so much. So if we have nominees and we have judging and voting, we all obviously have some judges, too. Barry, tell us about the cadre of judges this year.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we ask for nominees. We reach out asking everybody to participate and submit. And, you know, what's really amazing is the large number of names that are submitted. And of course, you know, we came to realize pretty quickly we were going to need a panel of judges to help us select these folks. So we start with Eric Harley of Red Eye Radio, Donna Kennedy, the Executive Director of the St. Christopher Trucker Relief Fund, Chris Spear, President and CEO of American Trucking Associations, Todd Spencer, President of OIDA, Ellen Voya, President and CEO of Women in Trucking, and of course, Dave Nemo of Road Dog Trucking.
I don't know how my contract keeps getting renewed, but I'm so thrilled to be part of this. I really am, Barry. I got to tell you, and a great panel. All of these folks are highly respected. They know what's going on, and they come from different areas too. You know, we all come from different areas of concern and. You know, part of the wonderful world of trucking, the WWT. So it's really great to be on that panel. Eric Harley, Donna Kennedy, Chris Spear, Todd Spencer, Ellen Voya, all great folks. Speaking of great folks, they actually outnumber the judges. And and I saw the number, Barry, but you're talking about how many drivers were nominated. Was it 84, 85? Is that the ballpark this year?
Yeah, it was something in there. When I saw the first list, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Every year, we just get this huge selection of names. Really makes you feel good about knowing the decent people that are out there driving these rigs, you know?
Mm-hmm. And somebody cares enough about them and recognizes who they are and what they mean to the industry and the community that they get nominated by someone else. We're going to run out of time for the first half of this in just a moment. What I'd like to do, Barry, maybe, is for you to announce our 10 finalists this year. Then we'll take the news break at the bottom. When we come back, I'll have you make the announcement as to who our newest citizen drivers are, and then we're going to get them on the phone and talk to them for just a bit. And if that sounds like a plan, why don't you go ahead and go through this year's 10 finalists?
Super. Happy to. First up, Tony Alsop, Greenback, Tennessee. Richard Byers of Oakland, Tennessee. Marty and Judy Byerly of Green Valley, Arizona. Randall Kaler of McKaysville, Georgia. Jacinda Duran of Yuma, Arizona. Danny Jewell, Nebraska City, Nebraska. Dan Dusty Porter of Acton, Ontario, Canada. Don Talley of Muncie, Indiana. And finally, Jeffrey Willis of Liston, Indiana. Those are your finalists, Dave.
Fantastic. What a great group of people. I know some of those people personally through the radio, through the truck shows and everything. As is the case with so many of the citizen drivers, you know, they're very active all over the place, and we all love getting together. So we can't wait to get together again. We should be doing this in person over a beautiful dinner with some musical entertainment. Maybe Lindsay Lawler would invite me up to do some banging on some boxes, and we'd all have a good time. That day will come again. Barry, we're going to jump into news here, and when we come back, we'll actually actually meet this year's honorees. Barry Richards, everybody, is with us, of course, from Travel Centers of America, and we are making the announcement here in just a moment as to who this year's class of citizen drivers are, and we'll be back. We'll get back with Barry Richards from TA Petro, TA Express, and this year's citizen drivers in just a moment. And don't forget, in the next hour, it's safety, compliance, common sense with NASTC, the National Association of Small Trucking Companies. And TA and NASTC work hand in hand and have through the many years. In fact, every year at NASTC's annual conference, which is coming up in November, by the way, always has a great representation from Travel Centers of America. Barry will probably be there. He always is. Homer Hogg will be there as well. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, and we'll be right back after news and weather.
Back to the Dave Nemo Show.
Well, this is a special event here on Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Radio Nemo, the Dave Nemo Show. The Citizen Driver Program is about to add some more members to the classes of citizen drivers going back to 2014. Barry Richards from TA Petro is with us to make that announcement now. Well, a couple of announcements. Barry, again, really a tough decision for everybody. It's one of those jobs you don't want to have, but yet you're proud to be part of it.
Absolutely, and I'm happy it was the panel of judges that had to make this decision because there was a lot of things to consider, right?
Boy, you got that right. Yeah. You have to have a huge table or a nice floor where you can lay everything out. You got your pen and your paper, and you start looking at stuff, and you're flipping pages and everything. It would be kind of fun to see some YouTube videos of the different judges and how they tackle the job, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, your job right now is to talk about one of these folks right now, huh?
Well, sure. Let's do it. You ready to roll?
We are ready to roll.
Okay. So some of you may already know our first winner. Maybe you've met him on the road or seen him snapping pictures, as he's wont to do. Help us congratulate Dan Porter, also known as Dusty, professional driver for Warner Enterprises. Dan was nominated by 2016 Citizen Driver Candy Bass.
Dan goes back a few. He goes back about as long as I do, Barry, going back to the late 60s, early 70s in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it says he started doing daily deliveries to local convenience stores when he was 15. So we might need to ask him about that when we can get a hold of him. But yeah, 52-year career, 3.8 million miles accident-free driving.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yep. And a couple other attributes I'd like to mention if we've got time.
Sure. We got okay. Time. We made time.
All right. So Dan is very well known to treat people with respect and to help when he can and always have a positive attitude. Cares deeply for others and leaves an indelible mark. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I read those comments in his letters of recommendation. Empathetic nature, calm demeanor, unbiased support, right? He connects with a lot of drivers on an emotional basis and has even saved a friend from taking their own life at one point. Driving a truck is Dan's full-time job, obviously, but taking pictures is really his full-time passion, and he's well known for making himself available to do that. He served on the Driver Advisory Committee and regularly attended safety meetings during his time driving for Heinemann Transport. Dan's well known at the Mid-American Truck Show and the Great American Truck Show for freely photographing different nonprofit groups like Women in Trucking, Trucker Buddy, International Truckers United for Charities, St. Christopher's. Truckers Against Trafficking, and more. He's volunteered his services for the Special Olympics, Truck Convoy, Convoy for a Cure, OIDA, and Trucking for a Cure. In addition to his photography skills, for 6 years, Dan managed the Trucker Buddy Rodeo, the challenge at Gaps, a bull riding event whose proceeds went to Trucker Buddy International. Dan's a lifetime member of the International Freelance Photographer Organization, a lifetime OIDA member, and a member of Women in Trucking. And a final note, Dan's chosen the Petro in Glendale, Kentucky to be dedicated in his name, so we'll have a wonderful ceremony out there with him. And he's going to split his $2,500 donation between the St. Christopher Fund and Truckers United for Charities.
Wow, fantastic. Well, if we did have YouTube videos, we would see a very white beard and an extremely red face probably right now after listening to that. Dusty Porter, good morning. Congratulations.
Well, good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. It's great to have you with us. Thank you. I'm so glad we were able to make everything work together to get you and Barry on all at the same time here. Whereabouts are you right now?
I'm in at the Werner Terminal there in Springfield, Ohio.
Gotcha. So they're hearing this for the first time there. I think, Barry, everybody's hearing this for the first time right now, if I'm not mistaken, huh?
No, that is correct. And, we like to do these events live, usually on a stage, as you well know. Mm-hmm. You've been on that stage with us. But life has changed over the past year. I do want to say we're going to have our citizen drivers this year at the NASTC convention, assuming that happens as planned, and they'll get their chance to be in the spotlight at that time.
Barry Richards, Dusty Porter, and Winona Judd, you can't beat it.
There you go.
Man, it's going to be a time. That is going to be a time. Well, that is awesome. That is because I mentioned, safety, compliance, common sense with NASTC. David and Jim will be, David Owen and Jim Edwards will be with us in just about 20 minutes from now, Barry, for their regular Monday show. And I know that you guys are really strongly connected with NASTC, the small trucking companies around the country. So, that's a great relationship. But, Dusty, congratulations on this. What would you, as Barry said a little bit earlier, we had about 85 nominees this year. Having been nominated and now having won, you're going to have the Dusty Porter Petro there in Glendale, Kentucky. What would you tell other folks, because it's not too early to start thinking the next year, what would you tell other folks about nominating someone to have this honor?
I'd definitely turn around and recommend it. It is a prestigious honor. And myself, I'm still a little bit overwhelmed. But, it's something the driver can certainly take pride in.
Indeed. You probably know, well, of course, our good friend Candy Bass nominated you. She has the TA in Nashville. It was, I almost said here in Nashville. That's going back a few. I'm sure you've probably ran across several of the other citizen drivers through the years at the truck shows and everything.
Yes, I have. Idella, Richard Pingle there.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Artis. Steen, forget his last name right now. I'm just my head's kind of full of many thoughts. But I've been at the Matt's truck show there right for so many years now, and I have been there taking photographs of the TA Petro Citizen Driver Awards luncheon and that, and with all the honorees and that. And John Osborne, and I was there when John Osborne and Candy got hers. This, to me, it was just, I'm just tickled to be in the top 10, to be honest with you. It's like, being nominated for an Academy Award.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Barry, Dusty just pointed out something that I'm going to kind of throw in that maybe a little corny, I don't know. But, we're talking about how the citizen driver encompasses all of the trucking things that you would expect. But then it goes out and really gets to the core of it. What are you doing in your communities for other folks, either on the road or off the road? And I was just thinking, Dusty kind of went through, and Steen Gronlund too, Dusty, I was trying to remember, he was 2019. But
yeah,
Barry, there's enough citizen drivers now to kind of create their own community in a sense.
There is. And we've got all their pictures hanging in our lobby, by the way, at our headquarters in Ohio. So a couple of new pictures going up today. But I've been to different trucking shows, and even at the event at Matt's where we would have the luncheon, all of the drivers that had been named in the past that would show up to support and can congratulate the new inductee, if you will. So they really have formed a tight-knit little community, if you will.
Yes, indeed. I've noticed that too through the years at the luncheons, and then of course at the Iowa 80 a couple of years ago in the truck museum, which was a real blast. Dan, right. Dusty Porter, man, thank you so much for what you're doing on and off the road. Congratulations, and we hope to see you soon.
Well, you certainly will. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Dan, congratulations, Dusty.
Barry Richards is with us from TA Petro. We're going to take a real quick break here, and we're going to introduce the next Citizen Driver 2021.
Homer Hogg here for TA Truck Service. Replacing tires is a major expense, but now you can save on tire costs without sacrificing performance or safety with Max Tread retreads. Dry tires are $219, and trailer tires are just $199 when you buy two or more. Single dry tire, $244. Trailer tire, $224. Offer valid through April 30th, 2021. Some restrictions apply.
And announcing the names of this year's class of citizen drivers at Travel Centers of America. And we've just talked with the first inductee, and of course that would be Dusty Porter. He's going to have his name permanently installed at the Petro in Glendale, Kentucky. Barry Richards, of course, is with us from TAs. Barry, who is next here?
Well, our second and final honoree is U.S. Army veteran Don Talley of Muncie, Indiana, who drives for Carter Express. Don was nominated by Shonda Claiborne, a longtime coworker and friend. And Don has dedicated the last 21 years to hauling freight across this country. But he first learned to drive while driving a big rig, serving in Saudi Arabia with the United States Army. So just talk a little bit about his Army career, because it's worth mentioning. Don was active in both the Vietnam War and Operation Desert Storm in the 20 years that he proudly served our country. He's earned many decorations for his integrity and unwavering commitment to service. He was awarded the Soldier's Medal for risking his life to save a woman who was pinned against the side of a cliff in Hawaii in 1982. This medal, by the way, is the highest honor a soldier can receive for an act of heroism not related to combat. Don has always been a leader in every sense of the word. He's received the Army Achievement Medals for positive and exemplary leadership, and 2 certificates of achievement for his professionalism, safety first mentality, and for his personal contribution to Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. the most successful logistical deployment in support of a combat victory in military history. Don was also issued a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart for sustaining injuries while saving lives in a combat setting after an Army truck full of ammunition caught fire, and Don rescued the soldiers trapped inside. So, moving on. After returning home from the military, Don brought his leadership skills and dedication to safety to the trucking industry. Don's entire driving career, all 1.95 million miles, have been accident-free. He received a Master Truck Driver Award from the Indiana Motor Truck Association and was named the association's Driver of the Month for May 2018. Carter Express has also recognized Don's safety achievements over the years. He was named Carter Express Driver of the Month for June 2018 and received Carter's 1 Million Mile Safe Driver Award. Don also created the Carter Pride Challenge coin, an award inspired by a military challenge coin program to foster a positive work environment and recognize those going above and beyond. Don's compassion extends to the community as well. Last year, he formed the Road Dog Crew to promote funding and representation of the St. Christopher's Truckers Relief Fund and Truckers Against Trafficking. Back home, Don and his wife are active members of their church and its food pantry. Don also volunteers with the Feed My Sheep, a monthly nonprofit with a mission to ensure all families in the area have a meal to share at Thanksgiving. Don's chosen the Petro in Gaston, Indiana, to be dedicated in his name, and the St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund will receive his $2,500 donation. And that is the story on Don.
Well, we have the opportunity to talk to Don Talley right now. Hey, Don, good morning.
Well, Dave, you know me by Drill Sergeant Don.
Well, I put two and two together and did not know that until a little while ago. But, yeah, wow. So, Barry, we've talked to Drill Sergeant Don, Tim and me, Claire Marie, Jimmy Mack, Sydney. We've all got to know Don here on the air, on the phone. So congratulations, Don. It is quite an honor, of course. I kind of asked Dusty Porter a question. I thought maybe I'd ask you the same thing with Barry's permission to ask you. Now you are officially ensconced here, so to speak. Your name will be there in Gaston, Indiana on the Petro. But Don, what about, encouraging folks, or would you encourage folks to nominate somebody? And how do you pick somebody to nominate?
Well, it's a lot of hard work, but, there's a lot of people that deserve this to be nominated. You just have to be a person that is well-rounded and a hard worker and can have time to put things together, because there's a lot of stuff that you got to do. But it's all worthwhile. I'm overwhelmed, I listened to the awards last night for the music thing and see what I was going to say. But I'm speaker, you know what I mean?
Now that's funny.
They think I'm a comedian, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Barry, Don volunteers with Feed My Sheep, as you mentioned, up in Muncie, Indiana. And the first commercial I ever read live on the road gang with Charlie Douglas, going back to 1972, was for Hartley Truck Parts in Muncie. And I had heard of Muncie, Indiana. I don't know how, but I had. But I never saw it in print. So when I read it, I said in Munis, Indiana, and I never heard the end of that one. So, yeah, that was my introduction to Munis there, Don. Barry, did you have any questions for Don before we run out of time?
I do, but I first want to point out, Dave, you can just hear the humbleness in the voices Don and Dusty, who was on previously, and man, it just really speaks to the character of the people that wind up with this distinction, and you can understand why so many people nominated and endorsed them, right? But yeah, one thing I'd like to ask is like, how many days a week are you out on the road, Don?
I just got back in, and I was out all week. And actually, I haven't went to sleep yet. I got in just about an hour ago. So,
well, it's amazing to me that the accomplishments that you were able to achieve, given the day job that you have, right? To be this well-rounded and this involved, I just find it very impressive.
Well, sir, to be honest with you, in the military, it means a lot. But if you're going to be a good NCO, you have to have a good wife. So that's the background. The women that support the husband, it means a lot.
Oh, absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. And very wise of you to get that in, by the way.
Yeah, happy wife.
Yeah, I get it.
That's yet another definition of military intelligence, guys. Military intelligence.
But I talked to John Osborne. He's a super guy.
Mm-hmm.
ATA, and TCA and IMTA. They're all good people. Get involved and help these drivers to be a good driver.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And in fact, I went to Doc Osborne's induction, if you will, the ceremony that was held at that site. I think it was out in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. But very, very moving ceremony, and hopefully we'll be doing the same for you here shortly.
Well, thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. All the fine people I've met in the last 3 or 4 months or a year dealing with this is superb. But this little truck stop over here, my father and I, my father had 3 gas stations, so I know how to pump gas.
Yeah.
And so I know a little bit about this truck stop, and that's the reason why I picked it.
Well, great. The staff is going to be absolutely thrilled. We couldn't share it with them until now, but I think you'll be impressed with the reception that you get.
Don, one of the things that Barry was talking about earlier in the hour was how proud and excited the folks who work at those particular stops are about. They're as excited as you and your family would be. So it's going to be a really great event when that happens. Can't congratulate you enough. It's great to talk with you in this regard, Don, after all these years. Drill Sergeant Don Talley. And, of course, you have chosen that Petro there in Glendale, Kentucky. Don Dusty Porter is going to hold forth from the Petro in Gaston, Indiana, Barry. So you guys got to start putting up some signs, huh?
Yes, we do, and we're happy to do it.
Well, Barry, thank you so
Dave,
much.
I think you made a mistake. You switched them.
Did I really?
Oh, yeah. Don,
yeah.
Sure did. Hey, it's what I do. It wouldn't be the Dave Nemo. Listen, real quick story. And, oh, man, this goes back maybe to the early 80s. The late John Parker, that some of the old road gang listeners who'll remember John Parker. He brought a new girlfriend up to the studio one. We were on it from midnight to dawn, and he brought a new girlfriend up to the studio to show her the studio and everything. I mean, how cool is that? And radio studio and all of that, TV station. And he came up to introduce her to me, and we shake hands, and the first thing she said was, "You mess up a lot, don't you?" And I'm living up to that right now. Don Talley, congratulations. The Petro in Gaston, Indiana. And Dan Porter, the Petro in Glendale, Kentucky. And Barry Richards, Petros everywhere. Thank you all so much.